Welcome to the Cenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
All right, let's dive into neurotransmitters. These are the messengers running the show in our brains. You guys already know the basics, but how can we actually use this knowledge? How do we upgrade our thinking, maybe even our mood, our productivity, with neurotransmitters?
Well, what's cool is that neurotransmitters aren't just static chemicals, they're dynamic.
Okay.
They change based on things like your environment or your diet or your habits.
Wow.
It's like this incredible internal chemistry lab you can influence if you know how.
I like that, an internal chemistry lab. So it's not just what these chemicals are, but how we can actually tweak them for better brain function.
Exactly.
So where do we even start? We've got a whole team of these neurotransmitters, our brain's all-star team.
Right. Think of them like specialized players, each with their own role.
Okay.
Like glutamate, the workhorse for learning and memory, it's always firing to help you absorb new information.
Okay, so if glutamate is like the note-taker, like writing down everything we learn, what happens if it gets overloaded? Is that burnout or something else?
It's a great question. It shows how delicate the balance is with these chemicals. Too much glutamate can actually harm neurons, and it's been linked to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. But then if there's not enough glutamate, it can impact your ability to learn and form memories.
So it's the tightrope walk.
It is.
What about acetylcholine? I know that one helps with movement, but I'm curious about its connection to focus.
Yeah.
I've heard it called the flow state neurotransmitter. Is that real?
Yeah, acetylcholine is definitely a multitasker. Muscle contraction, but also attention and memory. You could say it's involved in that flow feeling when you're completely absorbed in a task.
So if I'm struggling to focus, could boosting acetylcholine help?
Possibly.
Are we talking supplements, or are there other ways to do that?
Well, before supplements, let's talk about some natural ways to support acetylcholine.
Okay.
Like enough sleep, engaging your mind, and even certain foods. Choline-rich foods like eggs and fish give your brain the building blocks for acetylcholine.
So it's like feeding your brain the ingredients it needs to make that flow state chemical. Okay, more choline on the grocery list. Now, what about GABA? I think of this one as my brain's chill pill.
That's a good way to put it.
Is that right?
GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. It calms down neural activity and reduces anxiety, like the opposite of glutamate's constant stimulation.
You know, learning about GABA makes me wonder if my meditation practice is actually changing my brain chemistry. I always feel calmer afterwards, and I'm assuming that's not just a placebo effect.
There's actually growing evidence that practices like meditation and mindfulness can increase GABA levels in the brain, like training your brain to hit the brakes when things get too intense.
I am all for natural brain hacks like that. We can't forget about dopamine, though, the one that gets all the hype, especially when we talk about motivation and pleasure.
Yeah.
What's the best way to understand this one?
Dopamine is often called the reward chemical, but it's really more about motivation and anticipation.
Okay.
It drives you towards rewards, like a goal or even a delicious meal. The anticipation of the reward often creates a bigger dopamine surge than the reward itself.
Wow, that's interesting. It's not just about getting the reward, it's the whole journey leading up to it. That changes my perspective on goals.
Yeah.
And finally, we've got serotonin,
Yes.
the mood regulator. Right.
Exactly. Serotonin's a big player in mood, sleep, even appetite. When it's balanced, you tend to feel calmer, happier, and better able to deal with stress.
So if someone's constantly stressed and their serotonin's low, does that mean they're more likely to reach for comfort food? Is there a connection?
Absolutely. When serotonin dips, your body might crave carbs, which can temporarily boost serotonin.
Okay.
But it creates a bit of a cycle because those sugary treats are a quick fix, but they lead to more mood swings.
So we need sustainable ways to keep serotonin balanced, not just quick fixes. This makes sense, but it's a lot to keep track of. Is there a simple way to think about how all these different neurotransmitters interact?
Think of it like an orchestra. You've got all these different sections, the strings, brass, percussion, all playing their parts. Sometimes one section might be louder, but you need everything working together for a beautiful symphony.
So instead of just focusing on one neurotransmitter, we need to think about them all working together. Okay, I like that analogy. So if we want to improve how our brains work, where do we start? Like, what are the things we can actually do?
Well, one of the most powerful tools is actually your diet.
Oh, okay.
The food you eat gives your brain the building blocks for all these neurotransmitters. Like to make serotonin, your brain needs tryptophan. It's an amino acid found in things like turkey, nuts, and seeds.
Ah, so that's why we get so sleepy after Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
It's not just the carbs, it's the tryptophan.
Yeah.
So food is brain fuel. Yeah. Not just for energy, but for making these chemicals.
Exactly. And it's not just about specific nutrients, it's about having a balanced diet overall.
So no crash diets or magic supplements.
Right.
Just good, healthy eating habits consistently. What else can we do? I'm guessing exercise is important here.
Oh, absolutely. Exercise is like a full body tune-up for your brain.
Okay.
It increases blood flow, helps make more neurotransmitters, even helps your brain make new brain cells.
Wait, new brain cells? I thought we were stuck with what we were born with.
That's what people used to think.
Yeah.
But we know now that the brain is incredibly adaptable.
Wow.
And exercise is one of the best ways to stimulate that process called neurogenesis.
So I'm literally giving my brain a workout and helping it grow. Okay, I'm feeling motivated to hit the gym now. What about sleep? I know that's important, but how does it affect this whole neurotransmitter system?
Sleep is like hitting the reset button on your brain. While you sleep, your brain gets rid of toxins, consolidates memories, and refills those neurotransmitter stores.
So if we're not sleeping enough, we're basically running on empty.
Pretty much.
That explains the brain fog in the mornings.
Yeah, and if you're not sleeping enough for a long time, it can have really bad effects on your brain. It can increase your risk of things like mood disorders, problems with thinking, even those neurodegenerative diseases we talked about earlier.
So we've got diet, exercise, sleep. Those are the big ones. But there are other things that affect our brain chemistry too, right?
Of course. Stress, for example, can really mess up your neurotransmitter balance.
Right.
When you're stressed out all the time, your body releases cortisol. That's a hormone that can interfere with serotonin and dopamine.
So it's not just that stress makes us feel bad, it's actually changing the chemicals that regulate our mood.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the opposite is true, too. Doing things that reduce stress, like spending time in nature, mindfulness, listening to music, can help bring things back into balance.
Okay, so it goes both ways.
Yeah.
We can deplete these neurotransmitters with bad habits, but replenish them with good ones. What about social connection? Does that have an effect too?
Absolutely. We're social creatures, and our brains are wired for connection. When we interact with others, especially in good ways, our brains release oxytocin.
That's the love hormone, right?
Yeah, or the cuddle hormone.
So even hugging someone can start to reverse the effects of stress on the brain.
It can. And it's not just physical touch. It's about feeling seen and understood.
Okay.
Those positive interactions can make a big difference in your mood.
This is really helpful. But what happens when just changing your lifestyle isn't enough? What if someone is doing everything right but still having problems with their mood or other things?
That's an important point. Those lifestyle changes are like the foundation, but sometimes you need more support. And in those cases, talking to a professional is really important.
So if someone thinks they might have a neurotransmitter imbalance, what should they do?
Talk to a doctor or healthcare provider.
Okay.
They can figure out what's going on, make sure there's no other medical problem, and suggest treatments.
So it's about finding the right approach for each person.
Yes.
Sometimes it's lifestyle changes, sometimes it's medication, sometimes it's both. What about those medications that affect neurotransmitters? How do those actually work?
Okay, well, sometimes medication can help regulate those neurotransmitter levels.
Right.
For example, SSRIs are often prescribed for depression and anxiety.
I've heard of those. How do they work?
SSRIs increase the amount of serotonin in the brain. They basically stop serotonin from being recycled too quickly, so it has more time to work.
So it's not making more serotonin, it's just making it last longer. Are there medications for other neurotransmitters like dopamine or GABA?
Yes, there are. For things like ADHD, stimulants are often used because they can increase dopamine and norepinephrine levels, which can help people focus. And some medications enhance GABA. Those are sometimes used for anxiety or trouble sleeping.
So there are lots of different options.
Yeah.
It's about finding the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
And working with a healthcare professional to figure out what's best for you.
Exactly.
This is all making sense, but it's a lot to remember. Can we quickly go over some of the key things people can do?
Sure. Remember, consistency is important. Eat a balanced diet with protein, healthy fats, and good carbs. That's what gives your brain the building blocks for those neurotransmitters.
Okay, got it.
Don't forget about exercise. Make it a regular habit. Prioritize sleep. Try to get 7 or 8 hours every night and go to bed and wake up around the same time each day. And find healthy ways to manage stress and nurture your relationships. Those are important too.
This has been a really interesting look at neurotransmitters. I feel like I understand so much more about how they shape how we think and feel, This is all incredibly fascinating. But if you had to leave our listeners with just one key takeaway, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that we're not just along for the ride, you know? We're not passive passengers in our own brains. We can actually make choices that can make our brains healthier and make us happier. We have more power than we think.
I like that. But we've been talking a lot about external stuff like diet and exercise and stress. What about our thoughts? Can our mindset actually change our neurotransmitter balance?
That's a really interesting question. It's something scientists are still learning a lot about.
Okay.
But the research is showing that what we think and believe can really affect our brain chemistry.
So it's not just like positive thinking mumbo jumbo. There's real science to back it up.
Exactly. Studies have shown that, for example, practicing gratitude, being thankful, can increase serotonin and dopamine, those feel-good chemicals. And on the other hand, thinking negatively all the time can actually lower those same neurotransmitters.
So it's like if we think positive, we create more positive brain chemistry. But if we're negative, it makes those negative feelings even stronger because of the chemicals.
Exactly. It really shows how much power our minds have over our reality.
This is pretty amazing stuff. Makes you realize our thoughts aren't just these random things floating around. They actually have a real, measurable impact on our brains and how we feel.
Yeah, it's important to be mindful of our inner dialogue and try to cultivate a more positive outlook.
This has been such an amazing deep dive into the world of neurotransmitters. We've covered so much today.
Yeah, we have. It's such a complex and exciting field. The more we learn about the brain, the more we realize there's still so much more to discover.
That's true. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing your knowledge with us. This has been such a great conversation, really eye-opening.
It's been my pleasure. And to everyone listening, keep learning, keep asking questions. And remember, your brain is an incredible organ. Take care of it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay.
And for everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Remember, your brain is your most valuable asset. Treat it well. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.